Welcome to Epi Studios. Thank you very much for watching us. We have another tutorial for you to help you with your beautiful creations. I have a video, knit a raglan sweater with me, that I had a couple comments by a couple people saying that they could not see the stitch very well because the yarn was dark. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do a twisted rib. So you're going to learn 3 techniques. You're going to learn how to do the twisted rib. You're going to learn how to do German short rows. You're going to learn how to cast on. That is the key to making any sweater. So if you master these 3 things, you're ready to go and conquer any sweater you want to create. So let's go ahead and start. Here are the items that you're going to need. And you're going to need your shorter cable. So this is going to be a twisted rib casting on a 1x1 twisted rib with circular needles, and they have to measure with your short, let's see if you can see this. The cable itself is 14 inches. If you can see this, 14 inches. And then you add your needles, so that will add the length to your cable. Okay, let's go ahead and start. Here's the yarn that I'm using by, I believe it's Lion Brand. It's size 4. And it requires a 5mm needle to do. This is just a suggestion, okay? So this is just for you to learn how to do that technique. So right now, do not worry about learning the sizes that you need. That's a different video. When you create a 1x1 rib, twisted rib, or any rib, you know that you have to have a smaller size needle, because you want your rib to get tighter. So if you use a big needle, your rib is going to be very loose and it's going to lose the shape. Okay, so to do your rib is at least 1 size smaller than the needle that you're going to use for your body, unless you want your rib very loose. That will be up to you. Okay, first tip: how do you know how much yarn you need to cast on? In our case, we're going to do 112 stitches. Let's do an even 110 plus 1. So it'll be a total of 113. And this is very easy. Just grab a piece of yarn, maybe like 14 inches, and you're going to go around your needle 20 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, push it down, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And we have a little bit of a tail, and you want that. Okay? Then you let it go, and you grab onto here, and you pull it out. Don't lose this spot. This is how much yarn you need to make 20 stitches. So let me make the camera. Okay, now you're going to fold that piece like this and match it with another strand to make another 20 stitches. Then you do the same again. Now you have 3 strands and you have another 20 stitches. Now we have 60 stitches. Now you do it again. Now we have 4 strands. Now you have 80 stitches. Now we do it again. You end up with 5 strands and you have 100 stitches. Because we need only 110 plus 1, 111. Did I say 113 early? Oh, I'm sorry, I was thinking about the first count. So we're gonna need 111 stitches. Then we just grab a little piece more, because we don't need the full fold, right? We don't need the full fold because we only need 11 more stitches. So perfect. All this yarn is what you're going to need to make your 110 and 11 stitches. So it's about, for me, I'm measuring with my arm, it's like a yard and a half. That's just my way of measuring. I use the old way like my mother showed me how to measure. Now you're gonna come here and you're going to position your hands to do your cast on. So cast on 111 stitches for me, however way you do it. I do it this way, but you do it exactly however you want to do it. Okay? So continue to cast on until you have 111 stitches. With this yarn, I will tell you, just because I did a sweater last year, that 112 stitches gave me size large with this size of yarn. So I will continue to cast on my stitches until I have 111. So I will see you there. Okay, my friends, look, I have 111 stitches cast on my circular needles, and we are ready. This is the part that a lot of us, I should say, decide to either do this first set of row and then join in the round, or to go ahead and join the round now and keep working in the circular mode, that this is what these needles are for, okay? Remember, the first row is always the row that gives us the most problems, so don't feel bad. This is how it is, and it's, everybody goes through this, and you just have to overcome it, and you're fine. For me, because I have issues with my hand, sometimes I do not join in the round right away, and I do my first 2 rows. I knit them, and then I join. But for the purposes of our tutorial, I will join in the round. I ended up with still a long tail, which is better to have more than less. Okay, in order to join in the round, you're going to join the first 2 stitches together. That's why I've asked you to make one more stitch, because that stitch, once we put them together, is going to disappear. Okay, make sure that your work is straight. If it turns on you, you're not going to be able to do your twisted rib correctly. So make sure that it's nice and straight, that your stitches don't turn. Okay, grab the yarn that comes from the ball of yarn, not your tail. Position your hands however you do it. And all you're going to do is you're going to knit these 2 last stitches together. So all I do is pass my first stitch from my right hand to my left hand, and then I knit them together. And this part might be hard, but it's just the first time. There it is. And we have joined the 2 stitches together. This yarn seems to, there you go. This is going to look open. That's quite fine. Okay, I think I lose 1 strand on my stitch, so I'm going to do it again. I don't like when my yarn looks like that. it's okay to undo. See how that little strand stay hooked in my needle? There. And I have my loose stitch right here. I'm just going to position it in my needle again. And I'm going to do it again. Grabbing the two stitches together, like two together. That's all I'm doing. And if you're having a hard time, there we go. Make sure to grab all the strands this time. Oh, come on. There we go. And you let it go. And see, it looks loose. That's quite fine. Once you start going in the run, doing all your stitches, it's going to shape better, and then you're going to use your tail to make it tighter. Okay, so since we knitted this one, and this is for those that want to use markers, this is where you put your marker. This is where your row starts. Okay, so we knitted this stitch, then the next one has to be a purl. This is your setup row. We knit, and let's see if I can get closer. So we knit, we purl, knit, purl, always look at the stitch that you did before so you know what will be your next stitch. And you're going to knit. The next one, purl. The next one, you're going to knit. The next one, you're going to purl. See how my yarn, when I knit, is in the back? And see how my yarn comes to the front when I need to purl. So continue to do this all the way until you get to the marker. I will meet you once I'm here. We are at the end of the row. All I'm missing is one stitch, and I have positive this needs to be negative. The last one. Pass your marker to your needle, and your next stitch should be, I said positive, this is how I call my knit and purl, should be a knit stitch. The next one should be a purl stitch. Please make sure that you're checking your work and that you are truly doing one knit, one purl, one knit, one purl. Because you don't want to get to the end of your work and then when you're checking back to find a mistake all the way at the beginning. It's best to check 4 stitches before your next stitch to make sure that you're not making any mistakes. And do that for all the work that you do when you're knitting or crocheting, because this will alleviate you finding mistakes faster and resolving them, fixing them. Okay? We will continue this way until we get to the beginning of the row. Okay, we have completed our setup row. Let's make sure our stitches are not turned, that everything looks nice. Now, you're going to start knitting in the round for as many rows that you need to accomplish the height of your twisted rib. you're going to take each stitch in a twisted form. See how my purl stitch is? I'm going to take it from the back and I'm going to purl it. That makes it twisted. My purl stitch excuse me, purl, I grab it from the back just like this, with the split in the yarn, of course. I purl, I knit through the back to make it twist. See how kind of crosses? I knit by taking the stitch from the back. I purl through the front. I knit through the back. I purl from the front, and I will continue this way all the way until I'm done with this round. From now on, just get in your brain to remember that you're taking the stitch, your knit stitch, this way. It takes just a little bit of time. But once your hands and brain are in the same page, you will fly through this like nothing. And don't be afraid to stretch your yarn. Don't be afraid to have your fingers help you. And you will be done in no time. So go ahead and keep doing that, and I will meet you here. We are back, my friends, and we have completed the second round of twisted rib for a 1x1 rib. Got 2 more stitches to go. Okay, you're going to pass your marker and start the next row. And let me show you what it will look like on the sweater. Okay, so you are going to start your third row of a twisted 1x1 twisted rib. Here's my sweater, my first raglan sweater, and if you can see, this is how your twisted rib is going to look. So it becomes a lot tighter as you grow it, as you make it taller. It's going to look like this. So depending on what you're doing, we're creating this. This is the twisted rib. This is where what you are creating right now, this. So that's the first technique. So far you have learned how to cast on, how to how much yarn you need to use for the stitches you need to cast on. And now you know how to do the twist, taking the stitch in a twisted way to make it a twisted rib. Once you complete that, once you grow your twisted rib that as high as you want it, then we're going to teach you how to do the German short rows, which go from here, from the back to the front. Okay? So go ahead and continue. For an inch, you're going to knit, and this is just from my measurement with my gauge. You're going to need you're going to need about 6 rounds, 6 rows in order to have an inch. If you want your twisted rib to be taller than 1.5 inches, then it's up to you depending on what you're creating. So go ahead and finish those 6 rounds, and we will meet at the beginning again, and I will show you my twisted rib. And again, you're going to take your knit stitch from the back. You're going to knit it. The purl stitch from the front. The knit stitch from the back twisted. And you're going to continue this pattern all the way for 6 rounds to have 1 inch thick of twisted rib. So let's meet you when we're done with that, and I will measure mine and see how we're doing. Thank you. Okay, my friends, here we are. We ended up with completing our 1x1 twisted rib, and this is what it looks like. See how pretty it opens, and look how it has once you block it, it's going to take shape and it's going to look very, very pretty. So I finished with 6 rounds, and mine ended up measuring 1.25 inches. Okay, so thank you for watching. This is how you make that twisted rib. What have you learned? Let's recap. And you have learned how to cast on, how to take the stitches in a twisted way so it can look like a twisted rib, and how to complete your 1x1 rib. In the next episode, we are going to see how to complete German short rows. To complete this round, and this I do just in my sweaters, the ones that I wear, I make my last round, I make it all in purl. Why is that? Because I want to separate that twisted rib with a beautiful little purl stitch. This gives it like a little edge to the end of your rib, and it's going to look very pretty. This is just by choice. You don't have to do this, but it does look very pretty. So that's how I'm completing my twisted rib. You can leave it as you wish, and we will start the German short rows in the next episode. Thank you very much. Ciaocito. We'll see you in the next episode. Ciao, ciao.